Okay. Hey guys, welcome to the live. I am Barbara Gordon, unmasked. I hope this isn't too see-through. We shall see. So this is like my Gotham Knights costume. I don't have the cowl exactly yet, so stay tuned for that. Let me just make sure I'm framed. Okay, so we are gonna do a Batgirl read today. We're gonna actually do a revisitation to Summer of Lies, and but before that, I'm just gonna like relook at this one, Cold Snap, because we are in a cold snap here in Toronto right now, and it's like freezing cold. So I was like, okay, what better way than to warm up with a read? So welcome to the live. So I'm not masked today. I'm unmasked. So it's because I trust you guys. Let's put it that way. So let me say hello to everybody. Welcome to, well, I mean, the week. We're about 10 or so minutes to midnight, making it Monday, right? So, Red Heron, Squishy the Seal, hi, how are you? Um, so, before we begin, I just wanted to let you guys know that I have been going through my own personal, I guess, like mental health crisis that I'm kind of been coming out of recently. So a lot of my own projects that I've been working on, I've had to catch up on, such as like choreography and all that kind of stuff. Oh, thank you. This is my latest one, and it shouldn't get, oh my gosh, it's super see-through. I should have like worn pasties. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Okay, let me see if I can do it like this way. Maybe they won't get too mad. Oh, I was wondering, I was debating with myself, like, should I wear pasties ahead of this? Should I not? Maybe it won't be too bad. I'll angle myself ever so lightly, like this way, and I'll just do kind of like very, very burlesque. Okay, so just to give you guys some background as to why I love Barbara Gordon, Batgirl personally. I can't see anything. Okay, Tommy, you said it first. You can't see anything. But I unmasked, so I do want to have this be a bit more of like a candid conversation. Um, Happy Sunday. Oh, RL Rosa, thank you. Thank you. This is the Gotham Knights. If you guys have played the video game, which I have. Well, I did up until a certain point. They took it off of, oh my gosh, so I'm on Xbox, and so we have Game Pass. There we go. They took Gotham Knights off Game Pass before I was finished, and so I just couldn't play it anymore. And then also, they didn't really have, you couldn't do co-op unless it was online, and I like couch co-op, so that, but that's just like personal preference. Uh, I only used Red Hood. Oh, you like Red Hood? I do love Jason Todd, that whole story. I've read this alternate timeline universe where Jason Todd and Trinity, who is Wonder Woman's daughter, have a little bit of a romance. It's like such a me thing to like look into the romances between the different superheroes. Like that's the most the most interesting thing to me is like the different romances. So speaking of romances and love, my friends, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Um, I often switch between Red Hood and Batgirl. Oh, Lucas, I played as Batgirl, of course, and I got to use the Bat Cycle, right? And she's amazing. I love Barbara. I do think, though, there is a thing with writing girls who I guess are more masculine or tough in general, but also sweet in nature because they tend to make Batgirl like a little harsh, right? And despite everything, will say like the Bat family, it's really Batman who's kind of like grumpy Batman, and like the kids, Batgirl and Nightwing, who are and Robin, and they're kind of like we've all experienced tragedy. But how we deal with trauma is a little different, right? And so, Batgirl herself, Barbara Gordon, I first came upon her in the '60s version of, Batman and Robin, Yvonne Craig. I think she's a fellow Taurus like me. Um, and she was also a ballerina. So, how she put together the persona of Batgirl is kind of like this idea of how when we're inspired by characters and we bring them to life, we're also feeding back into the great, all of everything, the great Akashic record, the great story of the quantum library of everything. And comic books are my favorite, but they also feed into other mediums like video games and movies and animated series. And so whatever your favorite flavor is of this character, I would love for you guys to drop in the chat what Batgirl is your favorite. I do love my favorite version of Batgirl. So there's a Batgirl that also exists in the Burton verse, right? Played by Alicia Silverstone, who actually looks amazing in that role. And hot take, me and my sister saw Batman and Robin in theaters, and I had the biggest crush on Chris O'Donnell, Robin. I also just liked Robin as a character. Dick Grayson was my girlhood crush, and I actually have like the proper mask. Oh, it's not in my reach right now. But oh, Examillo, thank you. So my way of putting it together is I love Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson together as a couple. In some renditions, they do get married, but in others, relationships are complicated because being a superhero, certain jobs just make it hard to hold down a regular relationship, right? So it would make sense that you would date someone who would understand what you are going through, right? Lion Man 22. So I was going back and forth as to what comic book to read you guys tonight. We're gonna do a Batgirl. I'll actually, I'll give you guys a poll. I already know which one I'm gonna read, but I'm interested to know which one you would want to read because we're gonna read both of them eventually. And both of them, I think I've read live once before, but I don't think I have a reading of it. We'll have a flash goal, you guys. A flash goal. Also, I have a few skits that I'm working on, as I've told you guys before, with Batgirl and Supergirl, two of my favorite cosplays, and their conversations with each other about what it means to be a hero, right? Because having superpowers is not really, I mean, it's great. It's great to have superpowers and all, but it's not really the reason why you would be a hero, right? Oh my goodness, what's going on with my chat? Something looks crazy. Something looks a little wonky with it. Let's hope the replay. Is it because of my flash goal? Oh my gosh, okay, good, it fixed itself. Beautiful, 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 my friends. Okay, so the reads, oh my gosh, I didn't flip this yet. I have some dance stuff coming up as well as I have on Valentine's Day. It's going to be called A Love Letter to Your Body workshop, where I talk about how the different styles of dance, like shuffle or hip hop or heels or jazz funk or samba, cha cha, merengue, pole dance, these are all different languages, right? Or different dialects that we kind of have. And in our body and how we move to different songs and vibration, that's another way of how we communicate our inner world to our outer world, right? And so for those of us who think that we aren't dancers, maybe it's just about finding movement that feels right to your cells. You like, because oftentimes I love watching on YouTube, like Hilary Duff is making a comeback, right? And it's kind of sad. I've noticed that how like Hilary Duff apparently doesn't talk to her big sister anymore, and they used to be really close. And as someone who's really close to her little sister, it makes me kind of sad, like, you know, that estrangement. I mean, I'm sure there's reasons. I'm not gonna I always feel like it's none of my business, even though it's like the celebrities try to make it your business anyways. But going back to Hilary Duff, like, I grew up in the 90s, and back then the music videos had to like always had like these like really choreographed, like really crazy choreography, and some was really good and some was maybe like overly complicated. And Hilary Duff, I think on TikTok it was like made famous. I forget which choreo it is, but the way she does it, she's not giving any energy to it. It's just like she's doing the movement, and it's just like dun da dun da, and then it just kind of shows you like when you're reading a line, right? Like when I'm reading you guys in a comic book and I'm reading you a line, I can read it really flat and monotone, right? Or I can try to like do my best and do the voice of the Penguin or Batgirl, or try to have the different expression and the nuance, right? And so the same can be said for things like dance, and any type of time we're kind of communicating, right? So I went on a whole preamble. I didn't really mean to. Oh my gosh, what this stuff got. My Wolfie might join us. He was sleeping right in front of the area I was trying to do my makeup on. Lyman, yes, hello, Philadelphia Catwoman. Here. I love Catwoman. And you know that Batgirl and Babs and Selena Kyle have a friendship, right? I do think that the sirens of Gotham and the birds of prey, they have a little, allegiance, sleepover parties, perhaps, right? And they do work together when, because that's the biggest thing about Gotham, and I find Batgirl and like those who guard the shadows of the night, right? Where the line between right and wrong is not quite so easy, right? And it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't risky. Oh my gosh, my bang. My bang is in my eye. There we go. All right. So, without further ado, my beautiful ones, let's get into the read for tonight. I was going to read you guys Cold Snap with Penguin. I have done. Oh, champion, thank you for the confetti. I'm Barbara Gordon Unmasked, you guys. I'm walking. I'm that version of Batgirl who's recovered from the events of the Killing Joke, and here to talk about resilience as well. But because we have Valentine's Day coming around the corner, I decided to do Summer of Lies. I was going to take a poll with you guys. Like, would you rather do this read, A, Cold Snap, or B, the conclusion of Summer of Lies? I'm going to read this one. But we will come back to this one because it kind of talks about how like Penguin and Batgirl team up, right? And like this idea of Penguin has a son that Batgirl actually ends up dating. He's kind of like a tech bro, like if like Zuckerberg was like handsome, and then so because Batgirl, like Barbara's really smart, right? So of course you're going to be attracted to like intellect, right? For me personally too, intellect is a huge like top 3 attractive thing in a partner and friendship, right? Like I love people who are intelligent and think outside of the box. And I don't believe in love at first sight, but I do believe in love at first conversation, right? People that you meet out of nowhere, and you can like talk for like hours and hours and hours, right? What is that, right? Like, do I know you from a past life, or perhaps we're character types that have always been meant to meet this time again in this lifetime? So I love comic books for this way of talking about different archetypes and different personas that exist in the world, in our modern world, as we strive to come back to a connection to a more magical, mystical way of being, right? Do I know Ball? Nightwing. Do you mean Ball from Forgotten Realms, Dungeons and Dragons? Because actually I will have to do a whole thing on D&D coming up too as well. But there's a back. What? Oh, yay! There is. This is the Gotham Nightwing. I got. Oh my gosh, it's so like kind of see through. I didn't realize. I will know that for next time when I do the official reveal of it. Oh yes, I'm back, you guys. They just sometimes forget about me in a lot of things. And I do think it's also because they kind of make me no fun sometimes. I am like librarian, um, very logical, thinking through all the different parameters, and because I become Oracle, right? And I do resonate with that concept of being Oracle, as well as um, I'm really close to my dad, right? Because my mom was really like neglectful and horrible. And so there's this concept of like everyone also is entitled to their secrets, right? Not all secrets are necessarily like nefarious, evil ones, like the ones we're seeing in like the public right now. Also, did you guys see how like Epstein, I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name, but like he's like obsessed with Batman, and he was at the Batman versus Superman thing. And I was like, wow, you're like a real life villain. You're like a real life Gotham villain, and you're interested in Batman. I'm like, I don't know what that means. But I thought about it too because the archetype of Batman in a lot of the multiverse storylines can end up being really cruel, right? Like, he takes in Dick Grayson as like his ward after Dick Grayson's family is like he becomes an orphan, right? The Flying Graysons. It's why like Babs calls him, Boy Wonder. Come on, Grayson. So, I really love him, like just personally, like as a crush, just because I admire people who have had to go through certain darkness in their life, right? Where they have every reason to be a complete dick, right? They have every reason to have this armor of, um, horrible stuff has happened. But in spite of that, to choose to be, you know, someone who is a source of laughter or joy, or like, because Nightwing is very different than Batman, right? When it comes to like just their personas and personality types. And Nightwing has these conversations with, because he becomes the leader of the Titans and a leader in his own right, where Batman doesn't ever really, like, he becomes like this begrudging leader, or like head of the family, but not necessarily, I wouldn't say that Batman's really like team captain type, right? Catwoman. No, I'm Batgirl. I'm Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. So let's get into the read. We're going to read Summer of Lies. This is the conclusion. Long live the Red Queen. The Red Queen is someone from Barbara and Dick Grayson's past. And so this comic series I really love because it does these flashbacks from between when Dick Grayson was Robin to when he was Nightwing, and when Batgirl Barbara was a younger Batgirl, and when she's like an older Batgirl. So pre-accident and post-accident. So keep that in mind as we go through this. I was actually telling my hubby about this storyline off the top of my head before I came on this. I'm like, you know what? I should read it, even though I don't have the mask ready for Babs tonight. So think of this as like a warm, toasty, um, pre-Valentine's Day read with Barbara, just because Nightwing and Barbara, Dick and Barbara actually have a really close bond. And yes, it is romantic in nature sometimes, but at the heart of it is that they are really like close friends, best friends. And there is something to be said when you are a superhero or a crime fighter or a hero or someone walking this path, to have others who have your back, who like you can call when you need them, and who you can trust with secrets, right? That kind of thing. Trust with my secret identity, like now, like being unmasked. So let's read this conclusion. I think I have some of the previous reads of this on my YouTube somewhere as I'm organizing it, putting on my Barbara Gordon librarian hat. The other occupation that Barbara has as her alter ego when she's not Batgirl is computer scientist, right? So my dad was a prof in computer science. So I relate to that kind of techie, tech love, being a tech witch, that kind of thing. All right, guys, let's get into the read. So we're going to go flashback then. Batgirl and Robin? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So we're going up against the Mad Hatter. Hello, Mad Hatter. We were wondering when you sign up as a Hatter henchman, can you bring your own headgear? Or is that provided? So we've got Robin. So we're in the flashback sequence because Dick Grayson is Robin at this time. Now keep in mind too, I always find it funny when they're like going into these fight sequences. Like, I have the time for quips and comebacks. I have the time to be witty as we go, right? Okay. Ainsley, take your laptop and get the heck out of here. How do you know my name? Well, she knows her name because Barbara knows who Ainsley is. But she's like, Batgirl, how do you know my name? Just go. Oh. And then, uh-oh. Da-da-da. Welcome to the read, guys. We're reading Batgirl, Summer of Lies. It has a happy, lovey ending. I'm going to call it my pre-Valentine's Day cosplay read with Barbara. Hatter's getting away. Batgirl, wait. There's no time. Grrr. Scuffle. Eek. Psst. Huh. Whatever you're mad about. I didn't do it, says the Mad Hatter. I'm done with drugs. The stuff I'm making now, it's harmless. It's practically legal. Like e-cigarettes. There's no evidence at all that it's harmful. And she just steps on his hand at this point, crunching, breaking the hand. He's like, ah, ouch, yeah. And then she looks at him, peers at him. No evidence because no one's studied it. What do you want? Stop developing emo. Is that emo or EMJ? So EMJ is like, how do I explain it? It mimics like psychedelics, but it's not psychedelics. It's actually like nanobots. So the nanobots are activated by bad pop music. Can you imagine taking a drug and then you get like a really bad trip when like really like Taylor Swift comes on or something like that. Oh, hi, Painted Dreams. Hello, welcome. So, quick fun fact about this comic and a few of my other comics like these. I actually received them as gifts when I used to work in the corporate world as a project manager. So I used to work at the hospital here in Toronto at Global Health Innovation Center for a product called Bant, named after Frederick Banting, who discovered insulin. And so I was like a project manager for the iOS and Android apps. And so sprint planning, all of that kind of stuff, releases, that was like my whole world for a lot. But I was the type of person who liked to come into the office early and leave early. And so every time I would come in early, I had a friend in the office and he gifted me a lot of these comic books. So this is like a testament to that coming back around and, finally embodying a lot of the ladies in these comic books that like have been gifted to me. So it's kind of like a fun thing. And now I'm like gifting those stories back to you guys. So welcome, you guys. And thank you for that. Hatter, amazing. Shootout, glow stick. Also, too, I'm going to have some casting calls for cosplayers for a few like live action performances as I put some movie magic together to bring some storylines to light. So stay tuned for that. My career in software development. Oh my goodness. Software. Yeah, my little sister is a software engineer for EA right now. She used to work for Ubisoft here. So video games. I love video games too. Big part of my life. Growing up, my dad was a prof in comp sci. I had a very different kind of childhood and a relationship with technology. And yes, we're reading Batgirl tonight. And I relate to Barbara Gordon as a character because she and there's a lot in common I have with her. Just like the relationship with her dad, as well as the fact that like she has a lot of like masculine traits, like in terms of like being tech savvy and all that, but not masculine. And so I feel like Barbara, yes, yeah, she's like your bestie, and you can like come to me for like girl advice, which I was totally that person in high school. Like I had a lot of guy friends because I played video games. But like just those friendships that are like deep platonic friendships or like yeah, I know that like we're both attractive, but like I want you to be with like your person because it's just that. That's all it is. Okay, let's keep going, guys. This is Summer of Lies, DC Universe Rebirth, issue 17. Long live the Red Queen, Batgirl. Reading Batgirl, how meta is that? So Batgirl basically is shouting back at, oh, hey, Brandon, at the Mad Hatter that, okay, you are saying that you're no longer dealing with drugs, you're dealing with things that, like, there's no proof that it's not harmful. And she's like, well, it's because no one studied it yet. And he continues saying, oh, friend of yours, huh? Well, you ought to be thanking me for keeping her alive. What are you talking about? You think I want her to OD? She's no good to me dead. But face it, she's an addict, and she always will be. Oof. And so then he turns on her and attacks her. So never trust it when bad guys are like, I'm weak, right? No, it's a trap. And he continues, if she weren't getting drugs from me, if I were paying her cash, she'd be using it to buy pills from someone else. At least this way, she's under control. Okay, way to justify it, guy. She doesn't need to be controlled. She needs help. That's why you're here, huh? To play the hero. Save her from herself. Exactly. It's a trap. Run. We always know it's a trap. We do it anyways, though, right? I guess you just kind of like prepare as much as you can for it. And Ainsley continues. Barbara continues. Oh my gosh, shut up. So long, my codependent little friend. Better luck next time. And then from the utility belt, good old utility belt, which I need to get a better version. She throws mysterious substance into the air with a crash. Oh, look, and look, this is like Snickers commercial in between with the flash. Where like you're not yourself when you're hungry, which is true. So after she throws mysterious substance at the Mad Hatter, his face looks a little torn up. Look. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I couldn't see. Oh, wait. I missed a whole part there, I think. Yeah, I did. Sorry. So after she throws the substance, his face gets mangled. But before that, she starts to beat the crap out of him. Which I would too, you know? Just like, oh my gosh, you think you can just like poke me with a feather and hurt me like that with no consequences? So she starts to basically like ground and pound the guy. And he's like begging her, like, stop, please. And Robin runs from behind, yelling, Batgirl, stop, stop before you kill him. And there's like blood all over her gloves and her hands, and she's looking down. And he says to her, oh my gosh, look what you did. And then that's why his face looks all messed up. Wow, Barbara. The rage, pent up rage. Look. And Barbara's like, oh my gosh, I was just like in the moment. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I couldn't see. Hey, Gwen Stacy, Beta's sleeping. We got some tunes on, right? Music, big thing, right? Someone is big mad. Yeah, 100%. And she kind of we regret it. We regret taking it to the brink of death, that whole situation. He's a bad guy, but not that bad. And Robin says to her, that is no excuse you didn't want to see. When I said you'd have to get your hands dirty, this is not what I meant. There was no reason to go this far. You crossed the line. Robin, wait, please. I messed up. It won't happen again. It can't happen again, Robin says back sternly. We all have darkness inside us, but you can't let it consume you, okay? Oh, okay. Partners. And they agree. So that's kind of cool, right? Like this idea of like we all have darkness inside of us, right? But the idea is to not let it consume us and to dance with that and not cross that line where we become the villain, right? And instead of like us blaming other people for things and all that. But Nightwing. And then so now we flash back into the present, because remember Dick Grayson being Robin was in the past. Barbara's young there. Now we're grown up. And I think at this point, Dick is going, or Nightwing's going through a breakup with Starfire, Corey. Um, and so Barbara's trying to respect that relationship because he's not over her yet. And so he slept on the floor and she slept in the bed, right? In this timeline. I like Starfire too. So, what a conundrum. So now, Barbara Gordon's bedroom. Dick? Dick, are you awake? Yeah, I'm up. Um, how was the floor? I've slept better. I mean, I've slept worse, but, you know, you could have shared the bed. Um, I'm just not over Sean yet. I guess Sean is Starfire, I think. Someone correct me. So, like Shauna, maybe. I get it. I guess we should go. Right. The Red Queen awaits. Um, so this is post kiss. So prior on the last episode of this comic book storyline, there was a kiss shared between Batgirl and Nightwing, like in the heat of the moment, like on their stakeout and stuff, because they were going back in the past. Okay, so nothing's changed, has it? I hope I didn't make things more complicated. And Nightwing says back, well, you didn't make them any more complicated, but, and he brushes the hair away from her face, which, like, oh my gosh, don't do that. Don't make me like you. But they're not any simpler either. Huh. Well, most things aren't as simple as finding the Red Queen's lair. You got a lead? So they both are driving the motorcycles, right? She's got the bat cycle. Nightwing's got a motorcycle. I love that, actually, too. Something hot about that. Also, Yvonne Craig, in the 60s version of Batman, she actually rode a Yamaha motorcycle herself. And that fed back into the comic books as well to be canon. How fun, right? Okay, South Burnside. Ainsley's sister Edith recently incorporated a business for an online rare book dealership, Carol's. As in Lewis Carroll? Sounds like C.S. Lewis, right? Almost. Or Carol, something weird there. And Brandon, thank you for the roses. I did not know that Marvel made some Ghostbusters comic books, baby girl. It's funny, you're on a Ghostbusters kick, eh? I do love their little outfits as well. And we were rewatching Lost in Translation with ScarJo, Miss Black Widow, the other day. Just funny how all these movies, the connections between the actors that they play, they all kind of converge in some sort of way. Okay, speaking of bookstores, right? Carol's, as in Lewis Carroll, who created Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter, and of course, the character of the Red Queen. So it's a clue as to where that lair could be. Am I right or am I right? Right? And this is the isolated warehouse where she stores her book. So obviously, this is a trap. That's right. Sorry, Batgirl says back to Nightwing, it's too obvious for it not to be a trap. That's right, it's not a trap. It's a game. It's her. I'll even give you the first move. So the door, there's like a little like camera here looking down at Nightwing and Batgirl, and it's like, oh, okay, I know you're here. I knew you would come. And the doors swing open, and they walk in, right? I know, Brandon. Like, what are you doing? Just get the heck out of there. Clearly a trap, but they need to do what they got to do. It's like superhero stuff. You need to go in and shut the bad guys down. They're like distributing these nanobot things that are making people have like drug trips and stuff. So we got to shut it down, you know? Oh, it stinks like mothballs. Apologies for the smell. And you can see here there's like a checkerboard at the bottom there. this place is cheap, but it has bugs. You can see the Red Queen there. I know, not for me at all, right? Like, get the F out of Dodge here. And then Edith. So Edith is, if I get this right, in the past, Barbara Gordon, when she first moves to Gotham City, she's coming from Chicago in this storyline at least. She makes friends with the TA in computer science named Ainsley. Ainsley ends up dying of a drug overdose. I think that's what ends up happening. But this Edith character is like her older sister or younger sister who has like severe mental issues and basically blames um these guys. I don't know who she like. She blames Batgirl for a Nightwing or Robin at the time for her sister's death. I forget why or how she comes to that conclusion. So she wants to take it like, revenge against those who have caused her sister's death, including the Mad Hatter, which is why the Mad Hatter was like, oh, it's not me, right? So Batgirl says to her, Edith, whatever you've got planned for us, it won't bring Ainsley back. I know you're upset about what happened to her, but... And Edith cuts her off, saying, what happened? Don't try to sanitize it. She overdosed on the streets of LA. You wouldn't help her, and now her blood is on your hands. Oh, Scatner Art. Hi, how's it going? This is my brand new Gotham Nights Batgirl Barbara Gordon cosplay. I am unmasked tonight because I have to get the proper cowl to go along with this particular outfit. But thank you guys for joining me for this Batgirl comic book read as Batgirl, right? And there are other versions of Batgirl, right, as well, like Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown. And there are like storylines of like Oracle as well. So, let's continue onward though, because we do have Valentine's Day coming around the corner. And in my world, I love Batgirl and Nightwing together. That's just me. I know that other people have their pairings and their favorite couples together, but that's the beauty of like different stories and realizing what story you're playing out in your own life too, and where you find resonance in that. Okay, so they're going up against the Red Queen, who basically blames Nightwing and Batgirl for the death of her sister. But like it's one of those things where like it's not really their fault. They tried and did her best, but it's just, it's interesting how comic books deal with very real issues too. Like, what do you do if you're in a relationship with someone who's an addict, right? How can you help without enabling or cutting them off and then having them like be in a situation where they're going to get hurt? And so all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, Father Z loves Ghostbusters too, you guys. Also, yeah, I had a really trippy conversation today about like chaos magic and like Grant Morrison, some storylines with that. And just, I've been reading a lot of multiverse stuff with you guys. And I find in the big collaborative storylines, characters like Nightwing and Batgirl can oftentimes get lost with like the cosmic powers of like Wonder Woman or Aquaman and like Superman, right? So it's this idea of like even at like this local level, how we can be superheroes at this grassroots level, and that is important. And Supergirl and Batgirl have many conversations about this where Batgirl, like I feel a little like inadequate being like in a world where there's like Green Lantern and the Flash and like Constantine and Zatanna, what the heck can I do, right, as a human being? But there is so much that the Bat family is like there's so much importance to it. And so if you find resonance in those character types, I find that like these stories are sometimes, they're fun, right? They're also a little bit more lighthearted, like the dynamics in all of it, like just the dysfunction and the idea of like, yeah, of course, like you'd have like dysfunction and find a way of making it work, even though it's not normal per se, right? Okay. So the Red Queen blames them. Continuing on, Nightwing's had enough of this ish, right? He yells back, "Step off the moral high ground. 3 women are dead because of you. I'm not masquerading around as a hero. You are. You could have helped her. But when things got ugly, you guys turned your backs. We were teenagers. We were kids. And we tried. But we didn't know how to make her well. We weren't responsible for the actions of an adult woman. True that, Batgirl. Batgirl, stop. She's baiting you, says Nightwing. You could have kept her from using again, I know it. But that wasn't glamorous enough for you, was it? Click. There's no photo op when you're fighting invisible demons. You don't know what you're... Turn the lights on, Edith. We aren't going to play your game if you won't show us the board. As you wish. Creepy smile in the background there, right? Oh, thank you. This would be cool to have live action as like an episode. True that, honestly. And this is creepy AF. If this is like a video game and you have like these big, basically huge bed bug electronic things attacking you. Oh my gosh. Holy, what are they? I'm going to put you up close so you can see how gross they are. Right? And they're Ainsley's nanobots, but they're like full form robots, right? Your move. And she like basically makes them attack them. And Nightwing and Batgirl back to back. They gotta like fight off all the gross nanobots. Kind of disgusting. And then one of them manages to bite Nightwing on the ankle, like a little stinger bite. And he says, ouch, it bit. And Batgirl says, Nightwing. And the Red Queen notices this and says, oh, it is not a bite. It is a sting. An ejection of my own special nano cocktail. And so he starts to pass out, and Batgirl grabs him, and, you know, she gets her little, like, like her grappling hook to pull them out of there. Krang, and fires them up. So it helps to have a girl on your side who's strong enough to do that, right? I can do that. I've had to do that once for Father's Eve, when Stacy. Fun story. I used to be a go-go dancer here in Toronto. And my hubby, when we were first dating, we'd come out to see my go-go dance shows and stuff. And he came with a few friends, and they were like really big drinkers. My hubby's not a big drinker, but he like, anyways, I was doing my sets, and by the time I was done, I was coming down with like my girls to come to the booth where him and his friends were, and they were being kicked out. So they're all to be escorted out. I'm like, what the heck? Anyways, it wasn't his fault. It was just because of like the group of them. Like, you know, like sometimes alcohol has this like way of making, like it gets mixed with other things and people get belligerent and all that kind of stuff. Hey, Dandy Money Man, which is why I like dancing atop, above the, like, and observe the club culture below me as opposed to being part of it. We can bring those days back. I hope you guys are well. We're continuing on Batgirl, Summer of Lies. This is the conclusion. I'm going to call this my, like, pre-Valentine's Day read because it shows a lot of love between Nightwing and Batgirl in this story. So just to get you guys up to speed, they're fighting the Red Queen. The Red Queen has these like weird, gross little nanobot things that are attacking Nightwing and Batgirl. And one of the little stinger guys has stung Nightwing on his ankle. And the Red Queen is like laughing as evil guys do. Evil laugh, being like, ah, I stung you with some special cocktail. You will see what it does. So Batgirl grabs Nightwing, who's passed out, and pulls him to safety above the little nanobots, which are like looking up at them with their beady red eyes. And she's saying to Nightwing, wake up, buddy. Come on. Come back to me, Dick. Not your buddy. I'm not Nightwing. He's delirious. Well, who are you then? And then he calls himself the Red King, and his eyes are all like bloody and disgusting. So it's like, oh no, you've clearly been mind controlled with your weird nano poison. And he starts to attack Batgirl. Ah, what? And he, after attacking her, jumps down. The little nanobots aren't attacking him anymore, and he approaches the Red Queen, saying, "My queen." And she puts both hands on his head, being like, "Mwaha, my pet. Stop this, Edith. He doesn't deserve this. I was the one who got us mixed up with Ainsley. If you want to hurt someone, it's me, not him." And then Edith looks up angrily. I think she knows that, like, by hurting him, she's hurting her, right? And she says to her, "You want to make a deal? Too bad. Queens never make bargains. Besides, I am hurting you. There's no hell like watching someone you love slip away from you, watching them turn on you. Pet, she disgusts me. Get rid of her." And so he starts to attack Batgirl, saying, "Yes, my queen." And Batgirl faces off against Nightwing, being like not willing to kind of fight him and saying, "I know you're in there, Nightwing. Please don't make me fight you." "Idiot! He can't hear you," yells the Red Queen from below. "Red King, I'm not Nightwing," he yells as he attacks. Kush! And Batgirl dodges the attack. And then, gasp! Bang! Oh, he's too fast. I'm going to have to fight smarter. That's right. So you have to think strategically, right? Phone, play emoji. You offend my lady's eyes, and you offend my ears. Ha! You didn't think that would work again, did you? Of course not. I have to remind Dick who he is. It's this old trick of like mind control, right? You're trying to override that main personality, so you need to get the person you love back. So how do you do that? That's it. If he can't remember, I'll remember for him. I may be able to rewrite the nanobots in his system with the memories in my neural implant. I can transfer the data with a pulse from the electromagnets in my gloves. It might short out my implant, but that's a chance I'm going to have to take, like a real hero. So to keep you guys posted on what she means about the neural implant, Barbara Gordon has a neural implant in her head after the events of the Killing Joke, where the Joker basically paralyzed her. She ended up getting a neural implant from Lex Luthor in many cases that enables her to walk again. So she's thinking that she can rewrite or use the energy from her neural implant in order to short circuit the mind control that's happening to Nightwing. So that's what she's saying. It might short out my implant, but that's a chance I'm going to have to take. So she reaches in the back of her head, grabs Nightwing, and she starts to surge an electrical charge through him. And there's a gasp from his bloody eyes. And then there's a flashback in time in his head. I like your name too, Barbara. It's kind of old-fashioned. Yeah? Well, what's yours? My name's Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson. And she's thinking in her head, oh my gosh, he's so cute without his mask. You thought I was cute? Yeah, but don't tell anyone. Oh, he won't. And then he'll take it to the grave. You both will. Nightwing, my implant. I can't walk until it's back online. Girl, if you wanted a piggyback ride, you should have just said so. And so now the nanobots have attached to Edith, the Red Queen, and they're like making this weird, gross mech suit on top of her to fight them. It's like her next stage of being a bad guy. Don't worry, Ainsley. I won't let them get away. Rah! Uh-oh. Do you trust me, Batgirl? More than anyone. Then let go. And so she does. and they do this cool, like, kicking, flying maneuver thing. And they whack Edith, Red Queen, with her gross mech suit to the checkerboard ground. It's a win. It's a hit. Ainsley, and he's holding Batgirl because she shorted her neural implant to get Nightwing back. So, and then we flash back. Then, oh God, oh God, oh God. Hey, Ainsley, are you okay? You were out all last week. Family emergency. Everything's fine now. Please don't take me to jail. I need help. Can you cover for Ainsley? She's a no-show. What? Someone should come check on her. I'm going to come clean. I swear. Ainsley? I'm sorry, Dad. I want you to know I never did drugs with her. I never. So she did OD, and, like, remember, her dad's, like, on the police force, and so he came to respond to it. And he's kind of like, oh my gosh, you're friends with these kinds of people. But addiction, of course, is not what people think it is in most cases. And then later, hey, I heard, are you okay? No. I'm sorry. I know you cared about her. I don't want to think about her anymore. Okay. And then Robin kisses her. And she's like, oh my gosh, exclamation point. I'm sorry. That's not what I can't. But I thought, and they sit there awkwardly for a bit. Dick, and he says, yeah. So he was the one who tried first, and she said no. And then it's funny how, like, later she wants something. She asks, we're still friends, right? Babs, I think you're actually my best friend. And I can trust you to stick around. I lost my mom and Ainsley, and I don't want to lose you too. Ainsley! So, like, Edith, they obviously put her in, like, a loony bin situation after the whole mech suit situation. And at the end here, I'll always be here for you, Babs. Forever. No matter what. Me too, Dick. No matter what. And then they fly off into the night. Besties. And so next, we've got Home for the Holidays, but this is where we are going to end this read. The writer of this was Hope Larson, with Chris Wildgoose on the pencils. We've got inks with Joe Marsland and Matt Lopez on the colors. So this is the conclusion to Summer of Lies. I do have previous reads somewhere on my YouTube as I organize all of my reads together for the Cosmic Comic Book Club. Thank you guys for joining me for this debut of this version of Barbara Gordon's Batgirl. We may come back a little later for a read of this, Cold Snap, where Penguin and Batgirl work together. Dun 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 dun. Till next time, like, same Batgirl time, same Batgirl channel, right? But in all realisticness, I'll leave you guys with what I usually leave you, which is, it takes true courage for all of you guys to have the courage to be exactly you, the courage to be yourself in the cosmic game of life. So please do be exactly you, because the universe is counting on you. But no worries, I got your back. Till next time, Batgirl signing out. Bye. Bye, Jaren. Till next time, guys. Have a great evening. I'll see you soon.